Well, hey team, just want to get your feedback and input on the new calendar. I want to show you some of the major features, what's similar, what's different, talk to you about the why. But yeah, I'd love any feedback or input or feature requests before we actually go into production. Because what I've done here, and I'll show you on the screen, is going to be this year's calendar ported over to the new version. But of course, next year we'll be starting from scratch. So now's the best time where we've got a bit of leeway to make any of those changes. Why do we do this? One of my professional development goals was to make things that other people can use and maybe maintain if I go under a bus. So the old one had lots of VBA. I didn't want that to be the case for this one. In this case, the only VBA running is the one that lets you choose multiple different data validation, like the drop-down options, so that those things can be counted properly. Easy to maintain. This one just uses conditional formatting and like a lot of formulas, but they're at least formatted nice and readable. Also wanted to take the opportunity to better reflect workload, because of course, like dinners aren't counted on our current one, or bump ins, bump outs, where you maybe like Central Coast Day, where you have to drive down in the morning and then set up and then drive home again. Like that's a big extra day, so that's not reflected in our current calendar. And I also wanted to be able to track where our vans are a bit better. So those are the main reasons why we've done this. So you've got a bit of context. But of course, we want to have all of the same features as the old one in the new one and make some improvements. So first change you'll notice, every row is now a new day. So rather than reading across, you're going to have to read down the page. Goodness. So good luck with that. We've got our orange kit summary, purple kit summary, blue, red. Yeah, that's all good. So yeah, you can look down here and this will be a thing per kit. On the left here, we've got, of course, our vans. And so you can see the Mini Merc, that one's up in Queensland. That one is booked out all year. And it'll get angry at you if you try to allocate to like the same van to two different days at any point. We've got hire A, hire B. The James McMeek van. There's a spot for that one as well. So that's going to always look up to the side. Your holidays. Now in this version, I'm not ported over like the holiday dates or anything, but in the 2025 version, this turns up nicely. So you've got the green is good to go, and then I don't know if it's red or grey or something for no, don't do events those days. But they can just live over there. And so if you want to print it out, you just expand that one out. So yeah, those are the main things. In terms of putting in the data, in the past we would have overwritten these things. These are now nice formulas. So our data entry is done by expanding out that expandy bit, and then you chuck your data in here. And so you see you've got which event it is, and that's from a drop down. We've got our team leader, we've got our EA, and we can add as many EAs as we like. Again, just like the old one, where's one where we do that? Oh, the first one we did it. You just keep choosing from the drop down, and they'll appear in there. And remember, the reason why we need to have the exact right spelling, why we're doing this with these drop downs, is so that they can be counted later. And if you spell it wrong, Excel's like, don't know what's going on. So make sure you use the drop downs. Also, we've got these kit day types. Now, day types maybe should change to day bits or something. But this is how we're going to track more accurately our workload. So if you look at the list, this is our key. Unique events, they're still hashtags. And then we've got challenge day, discovery day. Thought it'd be kind of handy to put in driving and flying. Maybe we should have a separate. One idea I had was maybe have a separate long drive or medium drive. So we just use a slightly different symbol or something like that. Kit packs, training special. Training special is just a flag. Oh, yep. Remember, you got training people happening here. Teacher PD. Bump ins, bump outs. A bump in takes about 2.5 hours. So that's reflected in the weighted loading, like the fatigue loading. Bump outs take 1 hour. And then we got dinners as well, which is about 2.5 hours. So we can start to put those in. So that's just handy to know on the calendar when those dinners are going to be. But it all adds up to that fatigue, and so hopefully we'll have a better idea of, where everyone's flex is coming from and where we're going to massively blow out. So coming back to the master. So you're putting in the day type, and again, it's exactly the same thing. At the moment, if you want to remove something, I have to start again, sorry. I've got to work out why that the same thing that's working here isn't working here. It should, but it isn't. And then any notes for that kit, you can put that in here. So orange note. And then this is obviously going to be collapsed down. There's two things to note. Number one, if there is a note, there's a little note symbol that appears here. But also it appears over in the all kit notes section. So if we have another note for that day in purple kit, so I'll put a note in here. Just put in like which kit it belongs to, but you notice it comes over here. So that'll be there. And if you want to add any custom notes, then that goes in this column here. So don't touch this one. Do touch this one. That's why it's there. But like you'll click on it and you'll notice there's a little formula at the top. I'm like, oh, okay, I don't want to overwrite that. That should be all good. So I'll remove those. Yeah, the undo also counts for like expanding and whatever. So here we go. That's our data validation stuff. If you need to move an event, then you don't grab this and move it elsewhere. You just grab this whole section. And if I actually went, this one's actually purple kit, then I would copy paste into here. So do always values only. Otherwise, we'll stuff up some of the conditional formatting and things. And then I come back in here and delete that one. So you can't cut. It doesn't like that. Just copy paste values only and then delete the old one. So again, we don't delete the summary because that's a formula. I'm just going to hit delete to clear those cells. So if you've got to move things around, it's a little bit more clunky, but the payoff is that we have really nice granular data that then leads into our weighted loadings. So we've gone through those things. One of the really handy things, I think you'll agree, from the old one was being able to filter by just your events. So that's done up in here. Color by. I'm going to say, I want my events, please. And it will just show in green where all your events are for the year. And so that works for EAs as well. So this is something we can send out to them, and then they can want to see which events they're on. They can do that from there. To clear that one, just hit delete on it, and you'll go back to coloring by kit. So of course we've got our lighter color for travel and our darker color for events. Should be all good. The other thing we can do, if you want, is highlight all kit packs, maybe. So choose that one, and regardless of which view you're in, it'll color all of the kit packs a dark green, so you can see where they are in the year as well. And notice that we've put Neville on all of those. Thank you, Neville. Oh, except for here. So we should probably put Neville on here as well. And this is helping us keep track of Neville's workload as well and see where he's going to be bottlenecked a bit. You can also just start typing in and it'll come up, and you hit tab or enter. Enter, there you go. Finish it off. And there you go, it's gone green. Yeah, so It doesn't stop you putting the one person on 2 different days. But when it comes to team leaders, do be careful of that because it'll kind of left to right put down the first thing that they turn up in there. So if we want, you wouldn't want Lisa to have a kit pack on the same day that she's supposed to be traveling, even though you could, in theory, do that, just because it would miss that in the accounts. Noticing this one here, there's nothing in there, and it's because the day type is what determines the colour. So I'm guessing this is a driving day. Or maybe it's just not extraneous. Yeah. Cool. So that's how we enter data and move around, and how we filter things. So up here we've got our counts, and I've kind of done a little more granular here again. So we've got event days. I'm not separating out EA and travel training days like the old one, but we've got our travel days, weekends, TGPDs. I think we had this set at 4 in the old one, so I'll set that at 4 again. And we've got our rank. So red is bad because that means you have more workload than everyone else. Down here, REAs, again, I don't know, maybe this is too confusing with the big blotch of colours. But all of these are ranked as well. And so for EAs, they want more work. So green is good, with the exception, I think, of dinners maybe. No, dinner's still good. Okay, so what I'm looking here, I have to change some formulas because, this is the total or something. Anyway, I'll fix that in a second. But also it tells you how many trips you do with everyone. So this year, Christopher has done 28 days with Hannah Wood. Well done. And of course, we've got our nice graph that shows our cumulative workload. So see Aiden's year here, he shot up massively. Now, of course, that when you have an event, that's spread over a little bit more time than that. But and then from here on out, he's basically done. So still ended up on top in terms of weighted workload, which is not great. So things we might need to get feedback on. These weightings, so each unique event is 3 days worth. Event days are 8 hours. So this is 1.14. Travel days. Again, I don't know if we want a long travel day or a short travel day. Who knows? Weekends just add. See, weekends, in terms of fatigue, if you're away for work on a weekend like I was in Tassie this year, maybe that means that it's a little bit more tiring because you're away from home, but also you're not doing much work. On the other hand, in terms of flex and toil, it is full days, isn't it? So maybe that should end up being 1. That's for debate. TGPDs, kit packs, 4 days worth. I don't know if it is 4 days worth. The bump ins, I thought it was, about 2.5 hours, and 1 hour for bump outs. Dinners about 2 hours. So, again, we can have a chat about that. But see, the numbers in the end turned up pretty comparable. But again, apparently Aiden had 7 dinners this year. That's absurd. So that's good that that's actually included in there, in those tallies. Yeah. Those are the main things. If you want to print it, what I found is just clicking anywhere inside and going Control A for all, and then you might like to turn on the holidays. Of course, you can't see it right now, but because we're not in the right version, got to go print, and we're going to go print selected table, and just fit all columns on one page, and then and probably narrow margins. Really feel like narrow margins could have a smaller top and bottom anyway. You can fiddle with that, but it all goes on nicely on one page. And especially nicely, it won't cut a week across a page or anything. So, because of course it's each day is its own line. So for those of you who like to print them out, that's where that's at. Cool. Look, those are the main things I wanted to go over. But if you have any input, anything you'd like to change, I know Chris had strong opinions about, no one's surprised, which icon we use for Challenge Discovery Day. That should be all good. But yeah, now's the time before we start filling in next year's calendar.